Hey, what's going on, guys? Hex here, and today we're taking a look at the San Diego Comic-Con 2016 exclusive Star Wars 6-inch Blackline series Kylo Ren Unmasked. Here you can see everything that it comes with, so obviously the figure unmasked, and then you also get this banner with a stand. You get two lightsabers, one with the little beams out and one without them. You also get a Kylo Ren helmet, which is just in case you want to take this head, it's on a ball joint, and stick this one on, so it's not one that is actually like hollowed or anything like that. Then you get this Darth Vader, which we see in The Force Awakens, where it's all burnt up and stuff like that, and he says a little message and stuff like that. So you get a little look at that, and it's just flat on the bottom here, so that it can just lay down without falling over or anything like that. So I like that touch, and that it's not round. That way, it's always like rolling all over the place. So pretty cool looking. Take a look at his lightsabers. This is the saber that you actually get with the, I believe it's the Kmart exclusive. So let me take his away from him real quick. And I much prefer this lightsaber over the first two that were released in original retail. So the one that was for 2015, and also whenever they redid it, a few things and did it in 2016. This one looks much better. So I do like that. You can see some nice paint with the silver and then the red going down with a little bit of gold. So very nicely done. You can see the same thing on this one, a little red line and stuff like that. And you also get a little thing here in the back, so you can actually keep that plugged into his belt if you want to. So, which is pretty cool. But we'll move these things to the side. I wanted to bring in the other lightsabers so you can see those in comparison. So the first two that were originally released for retail, if I can get this to focus for me, they look like this, and they had the little thing where you can just unplug it, and now it's like, hey, there's the version with it out, with the beams not out, and there it is with it. I much prefer this. This looks much better, and especially if they're going to do an exclusive like they did with the Kmart one, you give us the better lightsaber. This is the one they should have just came out with originally anyways, but we'll move on. Now, some of the things that I want to get into that are a little bit different with this guy, we'll bring in the first release, and one of the big things that they ended up changing, you can see the cape here, or whatever you want to call it. I'll call it the cape. But you can see that it's kind of flat and not really a whole lot of texture to it. So this was the first release that they came out with in 2015, whenever I think it was September 4th, whenever they first came out with the first wave. And, not too bad or anything like that. You can see that they painted the belt where the little inside details are silver, which is the way it's supposed to be. So moving him along, then they ended up coming out with one in 2016, kind of a restock, but they did do some changes. One you can see here on the cape, to where it has these like little textures to it, which I think looks a lot better. And because it was a different variant, and me being kind of a little bit of a Kylo Ren fan, I decided to pick it up. Again, you can see they did the correct choice here, doing the silver on the inside of the belt. Some people were talking about the hem here was a little bit longer than this one. That is apparent here. So all the rest of them seem to have that kind of like a little bit lower hem whenever you get into the outer coat. So, or I don't know if that's just my particular figure, but it seems that's actually a thing. So, helmets-wise, everything else looks about the same. Then we got our third version here of Kylo Ren. This one, they went back to the first release, where it's a smooth texture, and it's not this new texture, which most people liked. The other thing that they did, besides the little snow thing from the Starkiller base and making it white down here, with the belt, they changed it up. So instead of doing the silver on the inside of the details, they did it on the out. So I forget. I think this is the correct way for it to be done. I'm not sure. I haven't ordered my my belt yet for my cosplay Kylo Ren, but so this is the only one that they actually painted the outside and left the inners black, where all the rest of them are like this. So just one little thing I wanted to point out. And then we get our fourth release of Kylo Ren for the 6-inch Blackline series. You can see they did the silver on the inside, just like all the rest of them. But they also did the back cape, where it's textured like the second release that came out in 2016. So just wanted to point out those differences so that, you know, kind of not just a review of this guy or kind of showing him off, but at the same time, kind of like a look at all four of the 6-inch Blackline series Kylo Rens, you know, as they've kind of progressed. It looks like they took some steps forward with the cape, then they come out with the Kmart release, and then they take some steps backwards again. So anyways, this is kind of a nice little look at him. I like the way that it turned out. One negative, I guess you could say, is it seems like they just never get it perfectly right with these guys. Doing the unmasked version, you'll notice that he's got brown hair, like dark brown hair, and I've seen the movie several times actually, and looking at some pictures online, and I just see black hair every single time. So I may be wrong. Maybe I'm not looking at the right photos, but every time I see Kylo Ren without his helmet, it's always black hair. So the choice to go with a dark brown hair kind of puzzles me a little bit. Are they going to re-release this guy in regular retail, without the little stand and stuff like that, and then give him black hair and be like, hey, here's a different version, just kind of like they're doing with the Harrison Ford figure, the Han Solo from The Force Awakens. Now they're giving him a little bit grayer hair and saying, well, this is actually, the really real way you wanted him. So Hasbro, you're kind of milking it a little bit, if you ask me. But anyways, other than the thing that he should have black hair, in my opinion, I think this guy turned out pretty well. The other thing is I noticed that his hands are a little bit more glossy than all the other releases, if you can kind of see that. A little bit more glossy. Also, with the left hand, I think it was a bad choice to go with just the other hand that's like the right, so that he could hold something. You can see the first two retail releases, both left hands holding something, and then you finally come out with the Kmart release, and you got the little force hand, which is cool for the left. Why you didn't do that with this other exclusive, I don't know. Again, it's like they just never get it right. We don't have one Kylo Ren figure that's absolutely perfect so far, in my opinion. So, and which is kind of strange since we have 4 of them, at least in this line. Now, bringing in another unmasked version. Here's Kylo Ren from the Elite series, and this guy's die-cast metal. Again, with him, they went with the black hair. So, again, I was like, all right, that just kind of reassures me that this guy should have had black hair. So maybe we'll be getting another one of these, which I'll be fine with. And it gives other people an opportunity that didn't want to pay the serious money to get this figure, but still wanted them. Maybe he still gets a retail release, so we'll just kind of see on that. All right, and before we get into articulation, taking a look at this little banner and stand. So you can see the first order sign right here. It's this glossy black, and then it's got the kind of like red paint around it. It looks really nice. And then the little flag or banner, whatever. It would have been cool if they would have done that print on the other side as well. But just in case, I don't know. I would think you would do it both sides. And this doesn't have a thing to stop it, so this can actually come off, which would have been cool if they would have just put something there to kind of stop it. But it seems all right. All right, and now just looking at the figure, the head. As far as the eyes go, I like that they're looking straight at you. You don't have any of that, weird stuff going on with the eyes that we've seemed to become more common among these Black Series figures, which is a real shame. But with the head, obviously ball joint, you can remove it. You can just put on this helmet if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, because we've already got too many of them like that. But you can move this freely however you need to. Goes back and forth as well. Then you have the shoulder. This one, it's a little bit hindered because of this, but you can still get it out pretty well. And you obviously have the elbow bend. You have the rotation there. You can move this arm or shoulder however you need to. The wrist, they do rotate, and this one goes up and down, and this one goes up and down as well. Instead of like a waist, you have kind of an ab crunch thing, or I guess you got a waist there too, but you can kind of move it however you need to. With the legs, they can go forward, a little bit back. Then you can go out. You do have the thigh cut right there. You have the double articulation in the knees, so you can get a lot of poses out of that. The feet go back and forth, and they also rotate. So there's a little look at him, and kind of like, I guess, my opinions, my thoughts on the figure. I don't think it's perfect. I think some way that Hasbro's going to be like, you know what, guys, we can do the black here, and we can change up the left fist, and then that'll be our like perfect unmasked Kylo Ren. And for some reason, I just see Hasbro doing something like that. So, anyways, wanted to give you guys this look at him. That way, if you are trying to determine whether it's worth spending the crazy amount of money for these SDC exclusives, at least you can kind of get a quick look at this guy before you spend out some serious money. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.